So I wanted to talk today about SRPs and VDPs. Basically, the premise has been how do we measure effectively digital advertising, right? And in particular on third-party sites and things of that nature. So for me, VDP is still king, right? I know that there's some conflicting theories out there, and some people are the opinion that VDPs are not that important. To me, I still feel like that's the best measurement of effectiveness, because if you think about it, if the SRP is people driving by my digital dealership, then the VDP is those people interacting and actually shopping my inventory. So the more opportunities I have for somebody to click on my inventory online and look at the photos and look at the information and things of that nature, I just feel like the most opportunity we're going to have to sell that car. Now, it was a couple of years back, but I think Cobalt did a study where it was like 30 VDPs, I think the average, before you start to get into these issues of diminishing return where you're overspending on marketing for certain units. And I don't remember the number because it was a couple of years back, but maybe it was 40 or even 50%. So the vehicles that got 30 VDPs would spend 40 to 50% less time on the lot. So I still think that metric applies. I still feel like it's extremely relevant, and we got to be able to measure it some way, somehow. So if there's a different metric, if there's a better metric, then obviously it'd be great to learn a little bit more about that. But I still think that engagement is king, and it's the best way to measure your performance on when it comes to digital advertising, when it comes to third-party site and inventory listing platforms. Now, I think a lot of the times, we spend we're not looking at our ranges, if you will. So, for example, if you have a lot of vehicles that are getting over that 30 those 30 VDPs, which is a good benchmark, if you will, then you may be overspending on marketing there. And then those units that are not getting enough VDPs, you may be underspending, right? So it's just a matter of understanding what those units are doing and how they're performing and adjusting your strategy. Because the vehicles that have less VDPs are going to require you to obviously spend some more money and really, really make sure that the merchandising is tight, right? Make sure you have comments and photos and find ways to differentiate yourself. So understanding what you have and making sure that you haven't that you're measuring that on a regular basis, I think is key. Remember, what you don't measure doesn't get managed. So looking at that, I think makes a big difference. The other thing I wanted to mention about VDPs is, for me, VDPs has always been a representation of performance for the dealership, not for the vendor. So what do I mean by that? Listen, if people are driving by your lot and they're not stopping, it's because you're either in the wrong location or you're not, you don't have the right stuff, right? Or you're not engaging with that potential buyer. And so it becomes really important to make sure that you're merchandising correctly, that you have the right comments, that you have the right photos and all those things. And then the other thing is, if you don't, right? If you don't have all those things, then maybe you don't want to be exposing that, right? Because you're going to offer a digital experience that's not up to par, right? Before the consumer ever even walks into your dealership, they're going to be they're not going to have a good digital experience. And so I think you may hurt yourself more than you help yourself. Anyway, so take care, everybody. As usual, I'm here to help. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.